In this video I'm going to talk about steam trains, and these are the steam trains of the East Somerset Railway here in Cranmore. And because it's one of my videos, I'm going to talk a bit about this drawing here which I did on my visit, and this painting here which I completed back in the studio. Before we get to any of that, however, let's take a closer look at this wonderful heritage railway. The East Somerset Railway was set up in the early 70s and is largely run by volunteers, and for over half a century these dedicated individuals have created something rather special. It's incredibly stirring seeing these great machines live on into our modern age, as I suspect almost all of them were destined for the scrap heap. It all appears incredibly glamorous and romantic, until that is you take a walk around the engine shed, and then you realise that this is where all the real work is done. In here it's about as far away from the Orient Express as you could possibly get. It looks hard, potentially dangerous and back-breaking work, and I wouldn't have a clue what to do with these paints. Considering myself very fortunate, I left the engine shed in search of something to draw. I wandered around for a bit looking for a likely candidate, and I walked up to this track here, looked around a bit, and there it was. Now, who doesn't love a blue train? Yes, this was definitely the train with me. Now, the only problem I have with trains is that trains keep moving, which makes them exceptionally difficult to draw. Thankfully, however, the gods of art smiled on me, and I managed to, no pun intended, track it down later on in a completely stationary position. This particular example was built in 1920 and worked for various people until 1972, when it was sadly sold off for scrap. Thankfully, as we can see, wonderfully rescued and preserved by the East Somerset Railway, and in 1985 it was named Lady Nan after one of its owners. Anyway, I quickly got on drawing the Lady Nan, and this is the drawing I did on the day, though I thought for this video it might be more interesting seeing the phases of the oil painting, which I completed back in the studio. If you ever do draw or paint something, you quickly notice the care and attention the original designers and engineers had for the subject matter. And of course these things were built to last. This particular train was going about for 52 years before it finally put on the scrap heap, and that was probably only because we didn't use coal anymore. Anyway, back to the work. Now, at one point whilst I was drawing, I thought the gods of art had abandoned me, because all of a sudden the Lady Nan charged up the tracks and left me there abandoned like an ex-lover on the dance floor. And there she goes, subject matter gone. Thankfully, it was only a temporary estrangement, and after a couple of minutes, the Lady Nan came rolling back down the tracks to stop in exactly the same place so I could carry on working, and I was most grateful. While scribbling away, I realised that all this back and forthing business was the order of the day, and what they were doing, they were giving visitors an opportunity to ride on a train. How brilliant is that? Of course I'd love a go myself, but I'm doing this, and it's often the case that I visit places where I just end up observing. Yes, I must make a note to join in a bit more. Well, I've almost finished the painting now, and I'm rather pleased with it. I managed to achieve that sort of ladybird book feel I was after. In conclusion, if you do get an opportunity to visit the East Somerset Railway, do go along. It's a real treat. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Many thanks for watching.